So this was my Monday session, first day of the week. Obviously, I'm deadlifting. I think I had like 265 on the bar, and I was doing 5 sets of 4, I think, for the main start. So deadlifts was all by itself. Then after deadlifting, you can kind of see here I'm starting on my next aerobic circuit. So it wasn't necessarily for time, like it wasn't complete X amount of things in a certain amount of time. It was just keep it moving and yeah, feel good about it. So starting with depth drops into a broad jump. So I just stacked a couple of 45s and a 35 on there and jumped out about as far as I could while I could stay under control. And then immediately after that, and again, even though I'm saying immediately, it wasn't for like sprint conditioning speed. It was just to keep it moving into dumbbell windmills here. I really love these guys just with the coordination of the body and trying to lean over and the internal external rotation of the shoulder. They're great, great movement. And they're fun for the brain to try to figure out, especially the first time you do them. They can be quite challenging in that way. They're very fun. All right, next movement we got here is a single leg suitcase deadlift. So the intention here is to go very slow and control it through that whole range of motion. And as you can see, I'm also trying to intentionally make sure my foot or leg that's moving does not touch the ground when I come back down. That way I'm trying to stay balanced on that opposite foot the whole time. There's 2 different ways you could do this, I suppose, from the way I'm thinking about it in terms of holding the dumbbell. You can either hold it with opposite hand, opposite leg, like I'm doing here, or you could do it where you're holding it in the same hand and on the same leg. One's not better than the other necessarily. It depends on you and what your goal or intention is from it. So, for example, holding it in the opposite way is going to force you to use a little bit more of the outside of your leg, which would be the abductors, abductors muscles or whatever. Basically, you're more of your hip and your glute. If you're holding it on the same leg side, then you're going to get a little bit more of the adductors or the inside of the groin as your body's trying to find a way to stabilize. For me, I usually like to just switch it up between the two because balance, it's good all the way around. So, yeah. All right, next movement pattern coming up here in this little aerobic circuit that I got going on. It's called a beast kick through, and these things are fantastic. One, because they're really fun, but and there I slipped up a little bit. But it takes a lot of coordination to get through these, and you can go faster and add speed to it, which is an interesting part of it. But you can also slow it down and make it very intentional for stabilizing. But it just generally feels good. Moving through and opening the shoulders and kicking through, and it's a well-rounded athletic movement. Now we're moving into day 2, which is my Tuesday. So Tuesdays is a somewhat of a lighter day. It's more just a workout to keep the blood moving. So here it's starting with the goblet squat jumps and moving into what I believe is dumbbell swing cleans. So this workout it'll be 3 exercises, so those were 2 of them. The third one will come up here. and I basically did those 3 exercises. I think it was like every 3 minutes on the minute. So I would go through all three, and then at the end of 3 minutes, restart again, and did that for 5 rounds, and that was the workout for the day. So something real simple to keep it moving in between the heavier days on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Even though I guess necessarily when you're working out at home during the quarantine, the heavy days aren't that heavy because don't have the necessary things, but still works. This is a lunge row press landmine lunge row press. So what the first movement is a reverse lunge, and then as I'm stepping back through the lunge, I'm pulling in kind of that row motion, and it's pretty quick because then I'm transitioning into a press with the opposite hand. So great to hit that diagonal plane of the body and get some twisting motion, as well as just fun to be explosive. So this is the third movement in the series for Tuesday. So like I said, I think it was every 3 minutes on the minute, run through all three of these. However much time was left is what I had to rest, and I'd go back through it. 5 rounds and I was done. So it was a 20-minute workout. This is a good one. Moving on into Wednesday's session. So Wednesday is a more priority for a pressing or a bench press kind of a day. So this day's workout started with a circuit of strict overhead press that I'm doing right now. I think I had like 45s, something like that. I think it was 90 total. So the strict overhead presses into a bent dumbbell row, and then followed by some mace swings. So just hitting all those different planes of the shoulder. Obviously, you're hitting front medial delt as you're pressing overhead, and then getting to the backside and the lat on the rows. And then the mace swings, which are just fantastic for all the rotation of the shoulder, scaps and traps and all that good stuff to keep all those little stabilizers firing, because you can't be strong if you can't stabilize. If you're trying to push through, if you're standing on a surfboard and you're trying to overhead press the most amount of weight versus standing on solid ground, you're going to be better off on solid ground because you have something to push against because you're more stable. So hence why mace swings and trying to work the backside of the shoulder and things of that nature are important for stabilization. So first circuit I think it was hit all three movements. As you can see, not a whole lot of rest in between. And then it was 2 minutes rest between each round. I think it was 5 rounds for the day, the start of the workout. And now we're into the second half of the workout. So now something a little bit more resembling bench press. I have this 20-pound med ball that works out that I can kind of stick my upper back on it and then bench press from it. So this was just 10 reps here, trying to make sure I wasn't going too fast, just controlling the movement. So putting those down. So and this is just like the previous series. So one exercise into the next one, keep it aerobic, keep the circuit moving. I actually forget what's coming next, so we're going to find out. So I know there's the bench press, and then maybe it was dumbbell flies. Let's see what I do. Yeah, dumbbell flies. There we go. Ha! Memory. So, obviously can't go super deep on here, which is nice because it controls the range of motion. The deeper you go into a fly. So I suppose you could say the more vulnerable that joint is. So here with the grass, obviously I have a bench, so it works well to limit that range of motion, focus on squeezing the picks and all that good stuff with the flies. After the dumbbell flies, balance things out, hit the backside, so doing reverse flies. So I grabbed some 5-pound plates, stuck my fingers through the middle of them so I could hold on to it. What I'm trying to do is move it slow and not have any extra kinetic energy at the top or the bottom, so taking the momentum out of it. I kind of do an okay job of that. Obviously, I'm already into the workout, so the muscles start to get tired, and squeezing and whatnot is difficult. So, yeah, classic lawnmower in the background. So this next part is the arm bars into Turkish get up. So arm bar is just generally for shoulder health. It's not so much of a workout, so just trying to work on the internal external rotation of the shoulder. What is for the exercise and the strength portion will be the Turkish get up, which is after doing the arm bar. I'm intentionally trying to go slow through the Turkish get up, which I think, if this is right, I kind of get stuck on maybe both sides, where I go too slow and then don't get up and then got to redo it. But Turkish get-ups are fantastic for the whole body, really. I mean, stabilizing through the shoulder, through the midline, rotation, capacity as you're going up through it. And not to mention, they're another fun puzzle for the brain to solve, right? If you're not having fun while you're working out, then what are you doing? So, yeah. All right, so that was the end of Wednesday, and now we're moving into Thursday. Thursday again, since it's a lighter day for me, and my schedule is generally Monday, Wednesday, Friday are heavier, and then Tuesday and Thursday are just workouts to keep blood moving, keep the body happy. What I'm doing here is a Russian landmine twist. Working on that rotational capacity and strength. Thursday is also what we call a skill day, meaning I'm just not necessarily doing anything super intense, but I'm just working on the skill of movement, the skill of moving the body. So the Russian landmines are for the explosive rotation, and here I'm doing a deck squat, which is basically squatting as deep as you can and then rolling onto your back, kicking your legs over, and then coming back up and through. And so it's, obviously it's not like I'm deadlifting here, so there's not that kind of muscle response, but there's definitely a nervous system development and creating and forming the capacity to have strong movement patterns in a variety of ways. It's also super fun. So after the deck squats, I have some handstand takeoffs. So I'm not a gymnast, So I'm just trying to practice getting up onto my hands and holding it there for maybe a half of a second and then falling back down and repeating the process. So I'll hit about 5 of those. And then this Thursday is a circuit too, so I'll just run through about 5 sets of all these, 4 to 5 sets, or maybe 3 if that's all I feel like I needed for the day, and I'm good to go. So this is Friday. Friday's a kind of a conditioning day a little bit. So this workout is 1 minute on, 1 minute off, alternating between 2 exercises. So the first one here is the lunge jumps. So start the first minute, 20 lunge jumps. So not 20 each leg, but 20 total into the 10 sit-ups. And then rest for a minute. And then at the start of the third minute, let's see, 0 to 1 would be the start. So the 1 to 2 would be the rest. So I guess technically it would be the start of third minute, whatever. At the start of the next round, there we go, I have 5 power cleans and then 10 sit-ups again. So for 30 minutes, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, alternating between the two for that day's workout. I like the 1 minute on, 1 minute off pace, I suppose is the best word. Yeah, I just like it. It feels good because you get to generally pick a little bit more intensity into something and then recover from it and get back to it. So, yeah. And wrapping up the week with Saturday's session. So Saturday's session was another light conditioning session. So the intention was for 5 rounds of these couple of movements here, and to maintain an even pace. So it wasn't so much to go all burn out and finish as fast as I possibly could, but through the 5 rounds they hit the same pace time for each round. So my pace time was about a minute 10 seconds, minute 15 each round for 5 rounds here. So the first movement was just a dumbbell hang clean squat, and then second part's a renegade row, so that's the push-up, and then row with the dumbbell in each hand, and then the third movement is just thrusters. So here I'm using 35-pound dumbbells the whole way through, so 70 pounds total. And that was the first half of the workout. The second half I didn't record because it was a running portion. So I went up to the park and found 2 trees that were roughly, I don't know, maybe 50 yards apart. And then would just run. It was run for 30 minutes. Well, 30 minutes. Run for 30 seconds. Walk for a minute 30. Run for a minute. Walk for a minute. Run for a minute 30, walk for 2 minutes, and repeat the process 4 times. Actually, it was 3 times, so a little bit of a more aerobic conditioning running there. So yeah, so that was week 2, or week 3, I guess this will be the 3rd time I upload a training log. So hope you enjoyed.